So I'm going to talk about this. It's how I would describe TGW's approach. The reason I'm raising this is because one of the biggest challenges I think a lot of companies face when doing outreach or engagement programs in schools is getting the buy-in and the company time to be able to volunteer to take part in these activities, because it's not the easiest to release to do these kind of events. So TGW has what we call constellations, but what majority of you will probably know as focus groups within your workplace, where we focus on a certain area or issue on a voluntary basis, and it's being driven from our C-level, so from top down. And the one in particular I'm going to talk to you about, you can see what our constellations are on the screen, but the one that I want to talk about is the social enterprise and responsibility constellation, because in that is all of the engagement work that we do, either on a charitable basis or on a school basis. What we do in here is we work through a number of different areas to engage. One of them is through our external ambassador programs. So all of our constellation will cover all of those that sit as a STEM ambassador. And actually we drive any apprenticeship that we have within our organisation or graduate program. Everybody that comes through that has to sign up and become a STEM ambassador, therefore building a pool of people that we have within our organisation and more volunteers that we can draw on to help out with these activities. So these are more indirect ways of us getting into schools and working with young learners. We also have built a network up with our local schools. So TGW's head office in the UK is based in Market Harborough, and in there are two main schools or secondary schools, and we have now got into both of those schools, and that has been a challenge in itself. Sometimes schools have what you call an enterprise advisor, which is somebody that will actively reach out to companies and look for business volunteers that will come in when they're doing things to prepare people for the world of work, whether it be careers events, talks about different programs that you offer, or even getting involved in workshops that they're doing to develop their skills for interviewing, etc. So the enterprise advisor is the person that you need to get in with. So in one of those schools, it took us a little while, but we finally got in with that enterprise advisor through connecting on LinkedIn, through emails consistently, through eventually them needing some volunteers, and we put our hands forward and got to know the careers lead in the school. So we then had a direct communication with the school. So they're the two secondary schools that we work with. And then now at the moment, we've started looking at primary schools because we want to be that consistent. So it is the long game. The things that we are doing in schools to some extent is the long game, but we'll see them from years 1, 2 in primary, and then hopefully see them every year right up until, if they choose to go to sixth form, year 12. So that's how we're viewing this. And then we've got direct engagement that we have with them as well, where we've opened up bigger work experience programs, so we can take on from the work that we're doing in secondary schools, we can take on a larger pool of work experience, and our open evenings as well. So we've started opening our doors up to our training centre to allow people to come in and view. So they're the kind of directions that we go in for engagement. And then there's the things that we actually do. So from a primary school basis, I'm in a primary school tomorrow. I can actually tell you what we're doing with them. We're seeing year groups from year 2 up to year 6, and they want to know about sort of the kind of careers that you can do within an engineering world. So we will start off with a day's presentation with them, and then we will go on to doing 3 different activities, which are the 3 different pictures that you actually see on the screen. So teaching them to build spaghetti towers, where they've got to hold a marshmallow on top, through to connects and building the tallest tower that they can find that will hold a tennis ball, to programming some little robots that we've got to make a map that they've got to hit certain targets as they go through that map. In upper schools, we will support things from CV writing. And I'll often take apprentices with me to those because they're of an age group that appeal more to them. We have a success story where we met somebody in in one of the schools that we work in, and we met him giving a talk. He came up to us and asked us if we could put him on a work experience program, which we did, and he applied for us, and now he's in his third year of his apprenticeship, and actually he comes out to most workshops that I do, because he was one of those kids in school that didn't like school. He didn't like applying himself in school, so he's got his own story that he'll often tell, and he becomes very relatable to the students that we're talking to. The other thing that we do in the schools, obviously all of these activities can play into assessment centres, so supporting them in some of the things that they might have to do within an assessment centre to get into an organisation. You've got careers events. Some of them can be careers days where they'll come and talk to local businesses, and there'll often be a number of businesses that work with that school that will come in. That's an opportunity to talk to parents as well, because they normally open that up to parents. And we're finding, and I was talking to Lucy about this earlier, that parents tend to be, quite big factors and influencers in these young learners. And it's giving us the opportunity to directly engage with parents and showcase what we do with them. So the careers events are quite important in school. And then we'll also go in and we will do engineering talks about what we do. And we are, from the work that we've been doing in the secondary schools, becoming more recognised in our local area, in our little town of Market Harborough. We are not just the company that's by the Tesco's garage, or you're that big building with that big crane in the front of the building. We are now actually a business that people are starting to understand what we do, and being viewed as a business that they might want to work for one day. From all of these events that we've been doing in the actual schools, we've also started opening our doors twice a year to provide an open day. So we're very fortunate that we do have a training centre down in Market Harborough where we have equipment that we test, or we do training with our customers. So we open the doors for them to be able to come in and see. You can see from the picture here, this was the one that we did earlier this year. We took them into our shuttle centre so they could look at the equipment. We had somebody taking apart that shuttle so they could see the mechanical aspects of it, so they can get a better idea. But they can also see our conveyors working. They got to go into our programming rooms. We got to talk about some of the job opportunities, and we actually showcased some of our managers that came up through apprenticeships themselves and where they have got to in their career. And we're very fortunate that a lot of our engineering managers or directors have come from that background where they came up through an apprenticeship. So these are some of the engagements that we do in school, and the results that we're starting to see of that engagement, which, if I'm honest with you, this year's the first time we've really seen an increase from it. We started about 3 years ago. Every year we've added something new in and provided more support to the schools in what we're doing. And this year we saw a 37% increase from applications from our local community. And more importantly for us, we saw a 14% increase in applications from females. We are in a very male dominated environment, and we are trying to drive more females into us. It's an important subject for us. So we did start to see that, and I think that's from opening them up to, this is what a STEM career is. This is what working in engineering can look like. And we have taken our own females into the schools as well that we've got in those roles, so they can talk about what they do and show that it's not just a role for a man, it is a role for anybody, really.